Today we're here to look at Cadimage Stairs for ArchiCAD. I am Ken Good from Cadimage UK, and I'll be running through the presentation. Made a little bit of a PowerPoint into ArchiCAD to show you some of the main features that differentiate Cadimage Stairs from regular stairs in ArchiCAD, and then back to PowerPoint for a little bit of a summary, and I'll give you details of a promotion that's available for attendees of these sessions. So let's just get started. So just a brief little bit of background about Cadimage Group. The company is based in New Zealand. The head office is in Auckland, where it has been for the past 23 years. You can see there's other offices down on the other side of the planet. And in the UK, the Cadimage UK office is the Bristol office, and I myself, as you can probably gather from the accent, I'm not from Bristol, but from sunny Scotland. In terms of company, the main tools that the company deals with, or the main products, relate around ArchiCAD, the BIM side of things, and any of the sort of related products. So our own tools, Calibre, Solid Edge, FEMAP, and then Atlantis and BIMX, again tying back into ArchiCAD. A little bit of background on myself. I'm one of approximately 30 people that are based around about the world with Cadimage, and I look after localised sales and support for anybody in the UK mainly, but time zone wise where I'm based also allows me to pick up the sort of European, Middle Eastern and the North American markets, because we're in a better time zone than New Zealand. They're currently 13 hours ahead of us. I've been involved with ArchiCAD since way back 96, 97, and even had a book published a couple of years ago describing how to use ArchiCAD. And as I've said on many occasions to many different people, ArchiCAD's not a career choice, it's a lifestyle. So we'll move on from there. So a little bit about Cadimage tools and where they came from. So initially they were developed based on feedback from customers and to provide solutions for things that just wasn't easy to do in standard ArchiCAD. So we're looking at stairs today. That's because stairs in standard ArchiCAD, there are known limitations with it, and our stair tool's been developed to work around those limitations and provide a better solution. Way back in the day when development started though, Cadimage were one reseller within New Zealand, and the tools were another way to provide something to make them a little bit different from the rest of the competition locally. Off the back of that, and off the back of a summer school 10 years ago now, it was decided to launch the tools internationally and make them available worldwide, and today they're available in 80 odd countries. In terms of Cadimage UK, this was set up to serve the UK market, as I say, this sort of side of the planet. The company was formed back in December 2012 after the acquisition of Encina. Some of you may already know Ralph from tools like Objective, GBXML, and a few other bits and pieces. The acquisition of Encina helps increase the development capabilities of Cadimage as a whole, and also enabled the expansion of the tool range to include products that were already part of the Encina range. I myself started with Cadimage a year ago from now, and initially I was helping with the beta testing for version 17, but then took on the role of providing sales and support for the UK-based markets. In terms of the tools themselves, this is the current lineup. So you can see there's a range that do different things, but if we actually classify them into the categories, you can see we have design-based tools. So this webinar series is looking at the top 3 design-based tools. So doors and windows, coverings, and today we're looking at stairs. There's also cabinets as part of this same range. And then there's other tools like electrical and keynotes, which fit into the documentation bracket, the structural tools, and then the specialities. In terms of the products and the sort of placement in the sales charts, as it were, this is the top 5, so number 5 is tied between electrical and objective. Stairs is the 4th best-selling tool. We then have keynotes, coverings, and the top seller is doors and windows. So we are looking at doors and windows, coverings, and stairs as part of this series. So tomorrow we'll be looking at doors and windows, and Thursday we'll be looking at coverings. What I'm going to do now is switch out to ArchiCAD and run through and show you some of the features. So this is me now inside ArchiCAD 17. It's pretty much straight out the box, the only difference being I've installed the Cadimage tools. So you'll see them now as a Cadimage menu at the top of the screen here. And I have a number of the different tools installed here, but the one that we're looking at today is the stairs tool. So there is this sub-menu that relates specifically to that. The type of tool stairs is, it lends itself to having its own separate button in the toolbox. So you'll see the toolbox here, it's fairly standard. Slab Edge is another one of our tools. We have the regular stair tool that is standard ArchiCAD, and then you'll see we have the Polystair tool. This is what makes Cadimage Stairs, this is what drives Cadimage Stairs. In addition, there's also the railing tool because it works independently of the stairs, although it works with them. There's other things that I'm going to come on and talk about in a short while. So the first thing I'm going to look at is probably the biggest sort of selling feature, as it were, of stairs, or the biggest differentiator between standard ArchiCAD and our stair tool. So that is a dialogue-free design. So if you're familiar with the standard stair tool, then you pretty much have to design from within a dialogue when you give various footprint sizes, heights, goings, rises, lots of different bits that you have to add. Whereas here, what I'm going to do is just use the Polystair tool to sketch out the shape. That can then be firmed up later, and you'll see there's some of the other options we'll look at as well. So all I'm going to do is I've picked the Polystair tool, and I'm going to just come down here and give a click on this first little hotspot rather than type everything out for the presentation. I've just added some hotspots, and what I want is just one little step, and then I'm going to switch from I was on a straight run. I'm then going to switch to a landing. I want the landing to come up and return. Then I'm going to switch back to a straight run, and then what I'll do is switch to a set of radial winders that closes off down here. So it's very much point and click, set the sizes as we go along, and we put the thing in place. There's little things like, traditionally here in this top section, then we would use the dialogue, and what we'd probably do is come in here and say, well, actually, I want it to be 3 winders on there, or 3 kites, so it goes and updates and gives me the new shape. So it's very much an on-screen, more graphical way of doing things than standard ArchiCAD. If I just do a more random shape, then literally we just start, we can switch to a landing that maybe comes up and returns. We can have a radial stair that maybe does something like that, and we can even have radial landings if we want to do something like that to finish off, and we will finish like so. So I've created this bizarre shape. Whether or not anybody can build it, that's a whole different thing. So I'm probably better off working with the constraints I've got in the original one to the bottom of the screen here. So we'll come back to this one here. One of the things you'll see with this is I've created it. I've got these little dialogues that give me the going and the riser height, depending on what I've actually sketched out and what initial settings I've given for the overall height of the stair itself. That I didn't actually check. So what I'm going to do is just go check in the 3D window, and straight away I can see there's a little bit of an issue because the stairs come up here, all looks good, and then we've got a bit of an issue at the top. So what I'm going to do is just say, well, actually, I want to stretch that so the top of the stair stops in line with the top slab. And by changing just this one piece, it actually dynamically recalculates the rest of the goings and rise and gives me my overall shape as it now should be. In addition to that, what I can also do is do a simple little check for clearance. So I've selected this part of the run here, and what I'm going to do is go into the settings, into the model tab, and I'm going to switch on the height plane. So that we will set for glass blue. We'll be able to see that okay. And what that allows me to do is update 3D, and I can see there's an actual physical 2-meter plane that I can check the clearances. So if I come around slightly, zoom in, try not to do too much navigation here because it doesn't broadcast very quickly. So you can see it almost clears, so there's a little bit of shaving off to be done on the underside of this slab, which is probably just plaster insulation at this part. It's not necessarily structural. So it's a useful tool to enable me to check and determine there is a slight issue here that has to be resolved. So if we switch on and just look at the stair types, these are the 5 stair types that we have in the Polystair tool. They're not very clear in 2D there, but if we go to 3D, you can see we've got open treads, we've got concrete, we've got timber with stringers, we've got steel with stringers, and then we've got a cantilever one at the end that I've put some glass on. But these are completely customizable, so if I drop back to 2D, so you can see what's actually going on here, maybe what I'll do is I'll pick up this top run, and I'll pick the top piece here, and what I'm going to do is just stretch that down 3, 4, however many runs it happens to be, and that allows me to redraw, recalculate the new stair shape. We go to this one, and this time maybe what we'll do is pick it up, but I'm actually going to go and just curve the whole thing. So I've taken what was a straight one and turned it into a completely different shape. For these ones here, what I'm going to do is just switch into the stairs submenu here, and I'm going to switch on stair shape edit mode. And what that allows me to do now is if I pick this next stair, you'll see there's additional hotspots. So I've got the reference line visible, which is this dash line that's here. That's just to show the handing of the stairs. That doesn't print when we take it into the sort of documentation mode. But what I can do now is pick any one of these hotspots and just edit the shape. So by stretching that out, what it's actually doing is just elongating this length and stretching the treads as we go up. Take the next one and maybe take this piece and pull that out. We can do it top, bottom, left, right, up or down, whatever way you want to go. We can do all these sort of things to create the new custom shapes. And the last one though, what I'm going to do is use the middle hotspots. And what these allow me to do is pick up and actually create a curve. So we just stretch it out, and we now have a completely different set, completely redesigned set of stairs. And at any time we can pick these up and we can go into the dialogue. Just wait for the machine to catch up. There we go. We can come into the dialogue and we have the option to change and play with the dimensions for the overall height, the run, the width, the structural type. We can change all these settings here. We can change the actual shape, whether it's open risers, closed, angled. We can choose what the final riser is. We can actually set whatever it is the first riser. We can have curve shapes on it. We can apply nosings. There's tons and tons of control over the overall appearance and look of what it is we're creating. There's then all the model properties for setting the surfaces, the two-dimensional view pens, the section attributes, and you already saw the height plane. And then finally there's the plan view option. So there's a lot of information in here that's fully customizable. But if I now go to this next view and look at how we can assemble and edit stairs, this is a stair I made earlier, as they all say. And as it stands at the moment, if we were to try and output this as a document, it'd be a little bit messy because we've got all these tabs kicking around that give us information about what's going on. This is when we're in sort of design mode, and I need to have that information to know that these parameters fit within building regs, etc. But what we can do is actually control them and turn them on and off within model view options. But ideally what I would do is play with a couple of other options. So let's just select this. And in fact, what I'm going to do is switch on Stairs toolbar. So rather than go through Cadimage Stairs and find whatever button it is, I want to switch off Stair Shape Edit mode. Then I've actually just added a button for it so I can turn it on and off from here. But what I'm going to do is use the first one, which is just pick any one of the stairs within that run and just say select all connected stairs effectively. And what I can do is there's these two buttons at the end. First of all, I'm going to assemble. And what that does is take it from, there's 8, it was if it's not just flashed off screen, the broadcast hasn't caught up yet. There were 8 individual parts that made up that run of stairs, but what happens when we assemble is we convert this now into a single stair, as we'd recognise from standard ArchiCAD. It's just one object. And when I look at the settings again, this time you'll see the settings are different because I've now simplified to show only the two-dimensional, the appearance settings and the materials, etc. So the stairs, there's railings, section attributes, again for stairs and railings, and then there's the plan view options. And then here we can set tons of new options. So we can show how the break lines appear, change the parameters for the rise arrows, we can change the way the riser numbers work, we can actually adjust the labels and how they appear, and again we can set nosings, what type of line type we have visible, etc. So I've converted this into one stair, but it doesn't necessarily have to stay like that. At any time, we can go back to Edit Stair, and that will break the whole thing back down into its component form again, and allow me to change the design into whatever's necessary. if we're now going to look at a couple of other options to do with this, we also have the option to set a custom floor plan. I showed you some of the settings there for the different arrow types and the appearance of the 2D side of things, but we can also go and change things like, if I pick up this shape, we can actually change the position of the break line. So we just take it and drag it backwards or forwards. So pull it backwards. And I've also got the option here to go and physically rotate that break line as well. The other thing is, as I said, this is a custom floor plan. This is the 2D floor plan we happen to be looking at, but I can also go to the first floor and change the appearance here. So the break line can be in a completely different position. We can go into the settings, and again we can play around with the attributes in here that we need to show whatever's necessary to make things work. So the last couple of little bits is, if I just go to this option here to split the stairs, what I have is a run of stairs which is currently at 21 risers, and what I want to do is break that and have a little half landing halfway along or wherever I happen to choose. So all I do is pick up the stair, and we've got up here, and I've got an option here to split stair, and literally all I do is come in, choose where I want to split it, and that breaks straight away into two parts. So I'll undo that, so back to where it was. If we just catch up. Thank you. And what I'll do now is pick this one here, and again, split the stair. Let's go, yeah, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down here somewhere. Split that one. Then I'll take the middle piece, and what I'll do is just convert it into a landing. And you'll see this is now recalculated. I've obviously taken 4 risers out because we're on 17 now, but I've changed the shape completely so we now have this split stair into its component parts. And again, when we're ready, we can select these and we can pick on the assemble option, and that will assemble it into one physical unit itself. The last thing I was going to look at was the railing tool, just to show how that behaves. As I mentioned, railings are a completely separate tool in the dialog box. We actually have 2 types of handrail. There is the railing itself, and then there's a railing that is just a handrail only. So in this case, we're going to go for the railing. There are tons of options. Because it's a little bit slow, I'm not going to go through all the dialogues because it's taken a while for the broadcast to catch up. But we can set all the things you would expect, so the height of the balustrade, the height of the handrail. We can set the positions and type of newel posts and brackets. We can change the balustrade options, so let's go for panels, and I'm going to leave the default settings to check there's nothing that's going to cause any grief. The rails switched on, so if we go to the handrail, we can choose the type of shape for the handrail, we can set the profile sizes, we can set what happens at the upper end and at the lower end. So I'm going to leave them straight just now and then tweak the very bottom ones because I'm going to add a whole load of railings here. We then have options for the model, so what the pens and the colours look like, what the cut surfaces look like, and then we also have floor plan symbols at the bottom here. So I'm just going to place some of these so you can see what it does. So all I'm going to do is hit OK. And to place them, it's very simple. I'm actually on the first floor, but I can still place them as part of the object, which technically starts life on the ground floor and comes up to the first. 2 options. If I Mercedes click, I get a railing that fits onto that one section that I just clicked on. So what I'm going to do is undo, go to the bottom corner this time, click again, and what it should do, just like that, is trace the run of the stair, and it puts the railing up that entire side. And again up here, click on there. And if I zoom out a little bit, the next bit, which is the most sort of powerful part of railings and everything else, is I can actually place railings on the edge of slabs. We just click there, there, into there, into there, into there. I've deliberately not picked a corner this time because I don't want to close it off, otherwise I physically close off the top of the stair itself. But I've now got this shape. You might argue the corners are not exactly dead tidy, but because I've just placed them, what I can do is pick them back up, like so, and just say update handrail connections. And off it goes and updates them. I would need to do a little bit of tweaking to get, because I'm not sure of the angles and things that the stair is now rising at because of changing everything, but we can do a little bit of tweaking and fine-tune those connections as well. So I'll just show you what that looks like in 3D. There we go. You can see various bits and pieces. What I'll maybe do is come down to these ones at the bottom. If I pick the bottom railings, what we can do is go back into the settings, and if we pick handrail at the lower end, we maybe do one of these fancier shapes, so volute on the end of it. And what you should see when it updates, it's a lot closer than the planned, but there is a close-up detail to show you the handrail as it comes down and does its thing. So if I just go back to 2D, the usual sort of things apply. You can still play with the stairs and play with the shape. You can assemble it, you can edit it, you can do your various other bits and pieces. But that's a quick run through of the main significant features between standard stairs and our Cadimage Stairs tool. So what I'm going to do now is switch back to the PowerPoint just to finish things off. Let the broadcast catch up. I'm guessing the US or somebody woke up since we started because the speed of the broadcast has significantly dropped off, unfortunately, but hopefully I've not been too far ahead and you've missed anything. But if I just resume the PowerPoint now, just a few bits to finish off the PowerPoint. The first bit is just really to talk about the development cycle and how Cadimage actually work on that. So the main thing is we work to exactly the same release cycle as full ArchiCAD. The guys that work on the development team have a good relationship with Graphisoft Hungary, so they're well up to speed on what's happening with new releases, etc., etc. Although we can't categorically say we will have the tools ready for the next version of ArchiCAD, what we can do is talk about the history. So all of the tools, and I was directly involved with the 17 release, these were available on time for delivery of the full versions of ArchiCAD. So myself with version 17 setting in the UK, the tools were ready about a week or so before full ArchiCAD was actually available for shipping to the users around about the country. So we have a good track history of delivering on time. With all the upgrades, the focus is always on fixing any issues and creating enhancements. Over the various versions, there's been things like multi-core support, 64-bit support, various other bits and pieces to really make use of these latest enhancements, and that's always part of any development plan. In terms of resources, if you want to find out some more information, the website itself, cadimage.com, it's not just about Cadimage tools. There's tons of stuff on here for ArchiCAD, so there's the tips and tricks. I can't recommend highly enough the knowledge base because there's so much information in there about all of our tools. There's also a tip of the day, and there's even some ArchiCAD objects that you can grab if you wanted to use them. Plus there's also some templates and work environments. If you want to actually test any of the software, then there are 30-day trials available for all the software. You literally log into your account and choose to trial the software. As well as the 30-day trial for commercial versions, there's free versions for students and educational users. That's available through the My ArchiCAD portal. As part of any of the trials, you get automatic access to the online support centre, the ticket system, all of the movies, the tutorials, bits and pieces are available online, and again, the knowledge base with the help centre because there's so much information in there. And if you're based local to the UK, you can always give me a shout if you're struggling with any of these things. I can help sort out those problems. So just a quick note on pricing. There's various different tools that we're looking at. Whatever products you're looking at, there are multiple license discounts. So if you have more than a requirement for one license, as soon as you have the second license, you automatically get a 20% discount. As soon as you go above 6 licenses, it increases to 40. And as soon as you're over 10 licenses, there's a 60% discount on all of those. There's bundle discounts as well, so we're looking at Stairs today, doors and windows tomorrow, coverings the day after. If you buy 2 products, you get a 5% discount, 3 products 10%, etc., etc., up to 5 or more products where you get a 20% discount on the overall price. And the final bit is in terms of upgrades, we can tell you up front, the upgrade cost is 20% of the suggested selling price of the software, so it's not going to be a big shock when it comes time for upgrades, etc. Thank you for attending, and if you have any questions or queries, the contact details are on the screen now. Feel free to get in touch and I'll do what I can to help you out with any particular queries or problems.